my computer. Okay, guys. So now that we've watched the video, I'm going to go ahead and do the presentation. And like I said, if you can, obviously, if you're driving, then don't take notes. I don't want you to get hurt or anything. So I will go ahead and if you can't take notes, just know I'm going to have a Zoom of this, and then you can basically watch it afterwards. So give me 1 second here, and I'm going to go ahead and share with you guys the different slides here. Give me 1 second here. Okay, so one of the things that we're talking about here is obviously depression, anxiety, and triggers. This is a super important thing, not because it was in my life, not because I've experienced it, but because of what we're doing here in my wellness center with my wife. So I just want to give you guys a little background on myself. I don't like talking about myself too much because I want to help you guys out. But some of you guys, again, I want to mention that some of you guys are single, some of you guys have a partner. Some of you may be dealing with anxiety, depression, or maybe you have a relative or your partner is dealing with depression or triggers anxiety. And this information could literally change their life because it did for me, it did for my wife, and literally thousands of clients that I've worked with in the last 9 years. So back in 2015, I don't know if anyone's ever been in this situation, but I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. So I was not in a very happy place. I've already dealt with depression in the past. In fact, just to let you know, I think when I was 6 years old, I did I wrote a poem about, who is God? What are we doing here? Why do we have families? What is love? If I don't know any of these things, there's no reason to live. And I remember writing that around age 5 or 6. And so my mom did what the only smart thing she would do as a doctor is take me to a psychologist because she was worried that I was going to commit suicide. And she was just scared. She had fear. I understand it, but I just had some really valid questions. But she didn't like that last sentence. But I did have some depression because I for some reason at that age it was already bothering me. And so what's interesting is through those years I got bullied a ton of times in school. My mother and father were completely absent in the house. I was basically raised by the person who cleans the house. So I had a lot of what they call like abandonment issues. Not having a father figure, not having a mother figure. So all that stuff started adding up. I didn't know I was creating this thing called heart walls, which I'll talk about later on. But long story short, is in 2015 everything came to a crash, and I read this book called The Emotion Code by Dr. Bradley Nelson. And to be honest, I must have picked it up and dropped it a million times. But then my friend cleared my heart wall, and then all of a sudden I got very, very fascinated by the work. And so I got certified. Within 6 months, I was working with about 50 people a week. Within a year, I was working with about 120 people a week. And then I've been in the trenches with around 100 to 120 people a week. I'm helping people all over the world. Our practice became the highest 5-star rated practice in the world using this work. So I take it very seriously. I take people's lives very, very seriously. I'm very passionate about helping the family home. And so that's a little background on me. I'll never talk about myself ever again. But basically, let me just kind of give you guys a review. We're going to talk about the emotion code, the body code, which I'm certified in. I'm also certified in group energy healing. So I'm a certified group energy facilitator. I'm going to talk about the map of consciousness, why that matters to you guys, the reality of emotions, how real they actually are, also the type of emotions that we create. See, again, the more, if you're dealing with depression, anxiety, I know, or triggers, I know there's more, it kind of multiplies by 2 or by 5 when you don't know why you do it, or you feel like you're all alone. And I know that because I've been there. And I'm telling you guys that you're not alone. If you saw the clients I met with this week, a lot of them are dealing with this and they're overcoming it 20% every time we meet, 20% another time we meet. They're actually overcoming it instead of going to some psychologist for 10, 20 years and they can't, or a psychiatrist, and they can't move forward. Talking about it sometimes doesn't allow you to process the emotions. And so we're going to talk about associated imbalances, inner voice. There's a couple of great testimonials that I'm going to share with you guys. And then I'm going to talk to you guys about heal. So this is just kind of a great quote that I really like. And again, it has to do with identity, because if you're dealing with these symptoms, because they're just symptoms, um, then it's really important to be like, how deep is my identity? And I love this. And it doesn't matter what religion you are, but I put Jesus in there. I said, um, Jesus didn't have an identity problem. He knew where he came from, he knew who he was, and he knew where he was going. And when you're that liberated, then you can serve. That's one of my favorite quotes is technically, if we don't know where we came from and why we're here and where we're going, that's when we're not really serving anybody because we're kind of shackled to the lack of identity. We don't know who we really are. And then we can't provide like true, powerful, honest service. And serviceness is happiness. And it's hard to connect with people because we don't know who we are. Why should we connect with people? You know? So again, that deals with anxiety and depression. And again, the people that probably cause you to have triggers, perhaps you've had some very serious traumatic things happen in your life, they didn't know who they were. Can we all admit that? That if your mom and dad did abuse towards you, if they knew their true identity, they wouldn't be doing that to you. So any type of trauma that was imposed upon you is due to someone that you were around that had a lack of identity. And so I just want to kind of really nail that in the coffin is that it's super important that you guys know how deep your how complex and amazing your body is, your computer system. And also I want to talk about kind of what happened during COVID. COVID was pretty traumatic, and it actually increased the numbers of depression and suicide ideation. So it's really interesting. People who had anxiety and depression actually got worse due to COVID. Suicide is the 12th leading cause of death in the United States. For those of you dealing with depression or you know someone with depression, I mean, this is pretty crazy. 2020, that's just 3 years ago. 45,979 Americans died by suicide. In 2020, there's a lot of suicide ideation with 1.2 million suicide attempts. So on average, there's about 130 suicides per day. So this is astronomically way too large. And I'm saying way too large as there shouldn't be anybody committing suicide. Again, I don't want to make light of people who feel that way. But if they knew this information that you're about to hear today, they would understand, oh, that's why I feel this way. It's not me. Like there's nothing wrong with me. If there's something inside of me that's programmed that if removed, I won't feel that way anymore. And so it gets really interesting once you get more information about yourself. Okay, so what is the emotion code? Long story short, I learned this method. I got certified in the emotion code, and it's using muscle testing. You guys obviously saw me pushing down on my arm, asking questions. Here's the beautiful part about this modality is that it can be done long distance. So maybe some of you guys have tried theta healing before or Reiki healing before. The beautiful thing is doing this on a long distance basis makes it super convenient for you. And it makes it super convenient for your children. Children that are under 18, like 17 and under, they don't really need to be with me during the session. I can work through the mother via proxy. If you have animals, this sounds funny, but animals are highly receptive to this work. In fact, I rarely do 2 sessions on one animal. It's just if they have symptoms, I just do one. They're a lot easier to process emotions than we as humans. We have a lot of blocks, negativity, skepticism, but animals are very easy. But for your home, for example, I know a mother who she took care of all her kids. She says, "Oh, I want you to do 2 sessions on her for this. I want you to do 4 sessions for this one, for this guy who's dealing with depression." So it's just she split up the sessions with her family. And I would say I never met any of their children and they saw amazing results. So how cool is that? They could be at school. I'm doing email session and I'm working on them. I send you the notes and then you just watch. I just say, "Hey, can you observe your child? They're processing for the next 2 days, but can you just watch them, take notes?" So it's very like my goal is to build a Zion home. And what I mean by Zion home is a home where everyone's one heart, one mind, where like you come home and it feels like heaven. Like you get a preview of heaven at home. And it's possible, but everyone's got to be less reactive. That's where hell actually shows up is like people becoming reactive. And I'll tell you how that happens. So what's interesting is that when it comes to our emotions. Dr. Brad found out that our emotions are being produced by our organs and glands. So, for example, the liver produces anger, bitterness, hate, hatred, resentment. So it produces all these things. So if you know someone who drinks alcohol, or maybe takes in too much medication, or drinks too much caffeine, you might notice it's easy for them to go to 0 to 100 because it's their liver is very fatty and it's producing those emotions very readily, like anger, bitterness, guilt, hatred, resentment. Some of you guys are. I'm going to date myself right now, um, so I'm 42, right? But I'm going to date myself. But there's a Dana Reeve. You may know Dana Reeve. If you don't, then you probably know Christopher Reeve. So Christopher Reeve, I believe, is the Superman. That's a whole nother seminar we're not going to talk about. But he's my favorite Superman. And anyway, his wife died of lung cancer. Now, if you look at the life of Dana Reeve, though, none of her family has cancer. She's never smoked a cigarette. Christopher Reeve never smoked. So why lung cancer? It makes no sense in the Western world, but in the Eastern world or holistic world, it makes a lot of sense because guess what the lung produces? Grief. So if you're grieving a lot over something, over relationships, over something, you're going to have asthma. You're going to start having lung issues. Can't breathe at night, things like that. So what happens is throughout the day, your body's producing these emotions the size of a tennis ball to a cantaloupe. So picture that. It's processing through your body. So how many times do you get angry? You're just like mad or whatever. Say you're mad at your spouse. And then all of a sudden, like the anger like shuts off all of a sudden. You're like, oh, I guess I'm done, or you're crying. And then all of a sudden you can't stop, or you stop crying. Like someone turned off the faucets. You're like, oh, I can't cry anymore. See, so picture a ball of energy trying to leave your body, and as it actually passes the body and it's outside of your body officially, your body can't feel that emotion anymore, so you're like, oh, I'm done crying. So we're doing that throughout the day. The problem is that some of these energies get stuck in the body and it gets trapped in there, and that's called the trapped emotion. And there's many types of these. But what you do is if someone came to my office right now, and I don't meet with anybody in person, but I would just say, hey, let me do you have headaches? Okay, take out your arm and let me ask, do you have a trapped emotion that's causing headaches? And I push that on your arm. And if your arm is strong, it means yes. And that's where I kind of go through the process of finding it. Well, which emotion is it? Column A, column B, even, is it odd? And I go in there, and then I use a magnet on your back 3 times to remove it. And then I confirm with your body, did I remove it? Okay. And it says yes. Okay, great. We actually released an energy from your body. This isn't some type of placebo effect, even though placebo has great results. But I always tell clients, I'm like, I can't do placebo on your dog, and I can't do placebo on your baby who has night terrors. So how am I still working on them and they're actually healing? Is because this is real. This is real energies leaving our body. Now we have hundreds and dozens of trapped emotions in our body. So I'm going to talk to you about what type there are. Also, the body code system. This is what I'm also certified in. This goes a lot deeper. Has 250 hyperlinks. So the emotion code is like 60 different emotions. But the body code has 250 plus hyperlinks, and it goes into everything: the nervous system, your brain, your skeleton, your joints, muscles, just everything. Different energies outside of that are just emotions. And so it's really powerful. This is the most comprehensive ever. Now, you might say, this is exciting. This can help me out with my emotions. Here's the beautiful part. Hopefully this makes someone smile out there, is this: once you like don't have depression, once you don't have anxiety, once you don't have triggers, the body code wasn't meant for you to just stay there. It actually was meant for you to attract anything you want in your life. I don't know if you guys have heard of the law of attraction, or they call it the secret. Well, most people, there's a missing chapter by Rhonda Byrne. It's that you have to match the energy of what you desire. So I don't ever leave my client with just, oh, so you feel normal again and you feel like yourself. I mean, hey, that's a beautiful thing in itself. I mean, don't get me wrong. Feeling like the way you used to feel when you were 4 years old and the colors were bright and the rainbow was brighter. Hey, I love that. But can you attract more things into your life, like relationships or wealth or whatever you want to attract? It's very, very possible with the body code system. So that's the good news. Hopefully it made someone smile on here that, oh, I'm not just going to go back to normal. Oh, wait, I can actually have a very fulfilled, happy, full life. And the answer is yes. Also, I do group healing as well. This I got certified back in January 2022. So for a whole entire year, I've been meeting with about 30 to 40 people, and we work on certain themes. Now, I believe we have over 125 testimonials from these group healings. The beautiful thing about this one is that it's 7 days consecutively, and it has to do with a certain theme. And sometimes I do themes of depression, anxiety triggers, aka some form of mental illness, and I do work on that for 7 days straight from 8 a.m. to about 5 p.m. And my wife is also sending frequencies to you guys as well. So it's very, very powerful. And you don't have to show up for anything. Like you just go to your work, you spend time with your family, and you're getting the healing. And like I said, we have over 120 plus testimonials of how it's changed your home. And here's a beautiful thing that I love about this is since the beginning, since I care about children so much, and I wish I would have had this healing when I was a kid, your children who are 17 and under will always get a free healing with you if you're the adult. So if you come in as an adult in group healing, your child who's 17 and under will always come in for free at no cost. So I want to get the whole family involved. Sometimes I also allow the partner to come in for free. That's not every single time, but if I get prompted or if I'm praying about it, I'm like, you know what, this one, I need the partners to join with the wife or whatever. I'll sometimes say that. I'll say, allow your partner to come in for free. So the whole family is being taken care of on certain subjects. Okay, so some of you guys may have seen this spectrum of consciousness here. And basically, what this is we're all on this level here. Okay, now the world, kind of where we're at. So when you muscle test someone, this is kind of crazy. When you muscle test someone, you can say, where are you on the level of consciousness? Where are you on the map of consciousness? Let's say you have a daughter and she's like sad all the time and just whatever. If I were to test her, maybe she's at 62. I'm like, are you at less than 100, less than 70? She's at 62. So if you look over here on the left side, she's in between apathy and grief. So that's just where her level is. Now, if she did a body code session, she may go higher into maybe willingness and acceptance. Now the average where the world is around 200. Most of your friends, they go from being neutral to having courage to having pride. They go back to neutral to courage to pride. It's just this strange cycle. Maybe if we're having a bad day, we go to anger. But this is where the world is kind of sitting at. People say, and this is from what I've read from many books, is that Jesus was the one that raised it to 200, and we kind of stayed there. So it's a very dense earth. Like this is like we're dealing with a lot of emotions here. Hopefully in the future, again, I don't want to predict anything, but in the future we'll be going into higher levels of consciousness. And the people who worked on themselves, it'll be easier for you guys to kind of hang with that higher level. But most of us are around here now. What if you have a narcissist father or a narcissist ex-partner, or you're co-parenting with someone who's a psychopath? I mean, it's horrible situations, but that may cause you depression, anxiety triggers. They're probably on the low area, like 20 to 30. If you guys see here, shame and guilt. What do narcissists like to do all the time is give you shame and guilt, like you're a terrible father, or you're whatever. So this, or if you feel that way a lot, maybe you're like, oh, I wish I was a better mother, blah blah. You might be hanging around the 30s. You see, so this is something very important. Isn't it beautiful that we have a way to muscle test ourselves and see where am I at on the map? And then this also allows you to forgive people easily. So you want to write this down. Forgiveness is key. We do it consciously all the time, but our subconscious is holding on to stuff. Some of you guys will get this and be like, whoa, this is really important. This is why I don't feel peace, is because I forgive people with my conscious brain, but my subconscious is still holding on to certain energies that don't allow me to forgive someone fully or to forgive myself fully. And then that causes you depression, may cause you anxiety. If you're someone who's been bullied your whole life, you might get social anxiety. You might say, oh, I'm safe now, everything's going to be fine, blah, blah, blah. Consciously. Subconsciously, you have all these different energies that pop up like popcorn, pop, 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 pop. And you think that when you go outside, people are going to be the same way you were 10, 20, 30 years ago. But it's not there. Your body's time traveling, and that's not really what's happening. Okay. Kind of something interesting here. There's you can muscle test to see where your trapped emotion is. So if I were to go up to you and be like, oh, you have a sadness here that's from the age of 5, and then I would muscle test you. I can even muscle test to, where is it? Is it on your lower half of your body, lower right side of your body? So some people think, are these real energies in the body? And the answer is yes. So I've seen Dr. Brad on stage work on someone and say, where is your sadness at? Or where's your anger at? And then basically they figured out that it's on one hemisphere, the top left of the body, so maybe the shoulder. And then what he would do is say, okay, I need you to hold your arm very strong. And then he would slowly move his hand closer to that person's body. And as soon as he touches the trapped emotion that's kind of floating in the surface of the skin, the arm would go down. And then he would kind of slowly move his hand back, and then his arm would get stronger and stronger and stronger. So whenever you touch a trapped emotion, the body just goes immediately weak. So this is kind of proof to show the realities of these trapped emotions that we have in our body. So here are the different types that we have. Preconception, I talked about that in the video, kind of spirit body stuff before you were born. At first, I was so skeptical about this. I'm like, come on, before you were born, seriously? But then I watched it on stage on a demo once of a lady who had a headache for 20 years. And her ethmoid bone, which is like kind of like if you were to stick a pencil through your eye, it's like the bone behind your eyes, was had a preconception trapped emotion, and I forgot what it was, but it was stuck on that bone. And then Dr. Brad removed it, and then her headache for 20 years went away. So I know, like, due to my witness of seeing it, I was like, whoa, pain goes away really quickly here. So, and people also have phobias. If you have any type of phobia, water, spiders, anything like that, some of it could be preconception. Because you might say, I've never like dealt with that before, like in my life. Why do I fear that? That's because it was in the spirit body before you were born. You might have witnessed something, someone drowned, someone got hurt, or someone got stung, or who knows what you saw back there. But also, there's inherited stuff too. Your great 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 grandfather might have passed something down to you, and so if you're like, oh, I want to feel safe around my husband, but I don't for some reason. You might have inherited, if your great 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 grandmother had a divorce up there and has a resentment that got passed on all the way down to you. That's called epigenetics, and it's in your body. And now you feel like every time you're around your partner, like, oh, resentment. I don't know why, but I feel like he's going to treat me badly any second now. See, it was like a warning sign to the generational line. But the problem is now you've like encumbered yourself with it. That's a problem. So you have to release that. All of a sudden now your anxiety goes lower with your partner. Also, you have prenatal. Your mom could feel an emotion and you absorb it in the womb. That's prenatal. You can get it first trimester, second trimester, third trimester. You can also absorb stuff. Be careful who you hang out with. You've heard that saying, show me your 4 friends, how they are, and then you'll be the 5th. If your 4 friends are broke, you're the 5th. If 4 friends are miserable, you're the 5th. Well, there's some quantum physics behind that. You could absorb energies from your friends and family. So you have to be very careful who you associate with. I feel bad for hairstylists. If their people are dumping information on them, they're absorbing a lot, and then their pain in their hands and their feet, they could say in their mind, oh, it's because of me cutting hair all day. Yeah, but if you create trapped emotions flock to tissues of the body that are being irritated, and now they have more pain in their hands and more pain in their feet and legs because of what they're absorbing from their clients. So be careful who you listen to for too long. If you're not shielded, which I'm going to give you guys all a shield, hopefully you guys are happy about that. I'm going to give you guys a shield to block negative energies. That's a gift from me to you guys. And another one is shared. If you're sharing energies with someone else. Also, there's emotional compound. If you guys see the bottom here, it's when you feel 2 or 3 emotions at the same time. So this is something that, like, if you learn how to muscle test yourself, which you can, I had to figure out how to do it myself. This is a skill that will really, really help you out. And you may not need me. You might say, Emmanuel, I don't need you. I've figured out how to muscle test and I'm seeing results. Hey, go at it. More power to you. Go and heal yourself. And I applaud you from afar. So that's great. And so I may, that's something that you want to kind of write down in your notes. Learn how to self muscle test. Learn how to self muscle test. I wish I would have known this when I was 11 years old instead of learning geometry that doesn't do anything for me right now is like, I need to know if I'm like, my emotions are producing issues, emotional, with relationship, physical. But they never taught us at school, right? But yeah, so that's definitely learn how to multitask. The second thing is, what are you doing in your life to self-regulate yourself? What are you doing to, and they say with inner children, it's like to soothe yourself. What are you doing? One of the things you can do, for example, if I'm having an overwhelmed day, I can muscle test myself. I'm like, are there any energies that I'm feeling right now that are right now are bubbling in my body? And if my body says yes, I'm going to go in there in the body code app and I'm going to look for it and remove it. And it's kind of like Johnny on the spot. That'd be pretty neat if you could do that. Or just meet with a practitioner and say, hey, at work, I always feel overwhelmed. I feel anxious and overwhelmed. Why is that? That's all you need to tell the practitioner. And then the practitioner's like, okay, overwhelmed at work. Why? And then we'll just go in there and see what's going on, remove it. Next time you go to work, hey, it was an overwhelming time at work, but I wasn't overwhelmed. The next thing is, if you see here, there's an AOSCAN thing over here, and I'm going to tell you more about what that's all about. So this is very, very powerful. And if you guys want to write this down in your notes, is AOSCAN, the AOSCAN device. Now, I think this is a device from the future. When my wife showed this to me, I'm like, is this thing real? Here's what's crazy is, so this was a device. The original one was about a $30,000 device, and you had to go to like specific quantum wellness centers to like do it for yourself. Right? And what it does is it takes your voice that has over 8,000 frequencies, just your voice, and it tells you which emotions you're overusing, which ones you're suppressing, and how it's affecting your body. And it even sends you like a 9-page report. More doctors and chiropractors are using this device now. So think about it. Let's say in the morning time when you wake up, imagine going on your phone and just going like, my name is Emmanuel Zavaios. I'm having a great day today. I'm excited to work with people. This is typically how I sound like in the morning, like excited to work with people. I hope they see huge changes. I love my family. And so I'm just doing that. And then it'll scan me, go, whoop, 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 and it's just scanning me. And then at the end of it, it tells me kind of like low self-esteem versus self-confidence. It tells me my conflicted emotions that I'm having. And it tells me how it's affecting my liver, how it's affecting my small intestine. And then if I listen to my headphones, it actually gives me, regulates my emotions. So here's another tip for you guys. If you have children, or if you're like myself, I'm like a little kid in an adult body, when my kids are in trouble, let's say if someone's crying or someone's really angry, usually what do? We go, hey, what's going on here? Maybe even get upset at them. What if you had something that say, okay, it's time for some inner voice time. My kids know that in the back of their head. There's like, whenever I say that, not only are they in trouble because they're just being superly overreactive and they're fighting or whatever. I say, hey, time to listen to some inner voice, and I tell them to come into my room. They say, hey, my name is, and they share their name, and then they scan and they put on headphones, and inside, once the scan's done, it gives binaural beats with a meditation, and it restabilizes your emotions and puts you back to emotional homeostasis within 15 minutes. So think about that. If you're someone who's feeling overwhelmed at work, but you have a 15-minute break, what about every time you put on your headphones and you listen to your inner voice meditation, you're teaching your body how to regulate your own emotions because it has these special healing frequencies in it. It's not like one that you go on YouTube and go, relax meditation. It's nothing like that. It's custom fit for your voice from the 8,000 frequencies. So this can help out with depression, anxiety, PTSD, and you can even send frequencies to yourself. Again, this is the last thing I'll share about this. Imagine like, my wife has one. My wife's just really into this. She's one of the top people in the company. What she does is she sends frequencies to our whole entire home. So if you want love, harmony, peace, joy, and you don't want to do it, sometimes we make these personal profiles. She does it to the whole entire house. So, and she takes a picture of our house, and it's almost like, when you send frequencies to something, it's almost like a cell phone. And people think it's kind of crazy. How do you send frequencies to people? Well, how do cell phones connect with each other? Once it finds your identity, which is your voice, even a picture of yourself, it knows now where to send the frequencies to. It's the same thing with this technology. So it's a great emotional regulator. Okay. And so this is kind of like this is what the inner voice kind of looks like when it's like scanning you. You can see the notes here that would regulate your emotions. This is like a G sharp, C, A, and E. Certain notes will regulate your emotions according to what comes out of your scan. So this is again just another tool to use for yourself, and you can have it. Guess what? On the comfort of your home. I'm sorry, in the comfort of your phone. So they used to have like this very heavy military graded thing. Now they made it to like a simple app, and you can have it in your phone. And your whole entire family can have a profile. You can have unlimited profiles too. So if you want to take care of your extended family and they're open minded holistically, you can create their profile, and it's not an extra charge or anything like that. So it's very, very powerful. So I just want to share with you guys. My wife, for example, did a scan, and her fallopian tubes, like something was wrong with her fallopian tubes and something like that. And I used the body code to fix it. So it actually, this machine, this device corroborates the energy medicine that I do. I'm going to share with you guys just to show you how powerful. I know you guys are really into the sort of like what these two things are. But I just want to give you guys some testimonials here. Again, some of these are major causes of depression, anxiety. I mean, if you have dyslexia, you may have symptoms of depression and anxiety because you're like, oh, I hate it when they choose me when I read. Look at all the trauma I've had because people make fun of how I talk or how I, receive information. When I worked with a lady, I think she was 19 years old. I was working on her, and basically the body went straight to body code, into body code, and there were different parts of the brain that were not communicating. So I worked on it, but it was interesting the ages that came up, like age 12, age 9, and just age 12, age 9. It just kept coming up. And I was like, what? I had to ask her. I was like, what is going on with age 12 and age 9? It just keeps, she said, those are the two biggest times that my father abused me at my house. And she was kind of describing, you don't have to describe anything to me, but she did. She was saying, this is what happened when I was 12. This happened when I was 9. I'm like, yeah, he basically created these certain emotions that dysregulated your brain. And I worked on it. And guess what? For the first time ever, the next day, she was reading for the first time. And she was so shocked that she could read. And she emailed me and said, no, this can't be real. I need to, what she said, she's like, I need to read when I'm tired, and maybe it won't work. And so she read, she was tired, and it did work. Then she says, okay, maybe I need to read smaller writing, smaller type, and then maybe it won't work. And then she read smaller type, and it worked. So that was one thing. Another thing is, many of you guys what could be causing depression, anxiety triggers is maybe you're attracting the same people into your lives all the time, or the same situations. Like, why does this keep happening to me? Some of you guys are doing that. There's a thing called the broadcast message. It's almost like wearing a shirt that says, wearing a shirt that says, hit me, or lie to me, or treat me like a child. And what's happening is that you have a broadcast message, and it's not assisting you at all. And people read that, and then you attract the wrong people into your life. This can add more depression, more anxiety, more triggers to you because you keep inviting the wrong toxic people into your life, and then producing the trauma that you don't want anymore. And so some people are like kind of writing here. Oh, okay. Readings I don't read, my brain it doesn't shut off. Okay, thank you for sharing that. And again, I don't know what your name is, Samsung, but you're talking about need help with your brain. Yeah, you can. There's, like I said, this doesn't only have to do with depression, anxiety triggers, but it could also be physical imbalances that you're receiving. The last one is this: heart walls. How many of you guys have like whenever something tragic happens, your heart feels pain? It feels like it's like gonna break, so that's called you're producing a heart wall. Your body takes a trapped emotion and places it over the heart, and it's almost like you're building a bomb shelter around you. Okay, and what happens is that one of the major reasons, guys, you guys ready for this? The major reason for PTSD, depression, and anxiety is heart walls. So I guys want you guys to write this down. And by the way, heart walls is the greatest discovery in energy healing history. So talk about like the Rolls Royce of treatments. Heart walls is there's nothing that touches it. Why? because when I first started my practice, I started working with, oh, Jennifer. Okay. When I started working with people, there was this, I started working with men that were in the military, and they all had PTSD. Some of them 11 years in war, 15 years of war. And what's really, really interesting is that you were producing these heart walls, and they feel these 8 symptoms. You want to write this down. Number one, low immune system, low energy. Okay. Number two, lack of clarity of your mission in life. Okay. Because that can also cause anxiety and depression too. You're like, what am I doing here? You know, it's not your brain that tells you where your mission is, it's where your heart is. How many times in high school did you hear, go out there and follow your what? Didn't say follow your liver, follow your kidney, said follow your heart. But what they didn't tell you is that if you have a ton of trauma, your heart's covered by something, and it's not allowing you to see if this is what you should be doing, which can lead your spirit and your whole mind to be like, I want to find my mission in life, and I want to know it's my mission. I don't want to presume, I don't want to presuppose, I want to know it's my mission. That the only way to do it is to clear that wall, you know. And if you're into scriptures, it talks about how I will make your heart of stone into flesh. It's even in the good book, it talks about it, like you have to make your heart fleshy again so you can feel. So the third thing is, you might be sending mixed messages to people. If you have relationships, it might be hard to have a relationship because you're sending mixed messages. How many times have you talked to someone and go, hey, da 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 da? You're talking to them, they say, man, you're being rude. I'm not being rude. Yeah, you're being rude. And I was like, no, you're hearing me the wrong way. It's like, that is not because that person's having a bad day. That's the first thing we assume, they're having a bad day. But it's that your heart's having a bad day. You're sending mixed messages to people. Would that give you more depression, anxiety, and triggers? Yeah, because the fight that's about to ensue during that time. Then the fourth thing is when people give you love and affection. How many of you guys feel like, I don't feel love the way I used to? You know, I used to feel it more when I was a kid. If you had a healthy childhood, I felt it more when I was a kid. The sun was brighter, rainbow was brighter, but now I don't feel it the way I used to. That's a heart wall issue. That can also cause depression and anxiety. When you're meeting with a group of people, it's not that you have social anxiety, it's that you don't feel people's energy when you're around people. That's why, so you don't trust anyone. And because of that, you have anxiety, because we're supposed to be interconnected people. But if you have a heart wall, you're not interconnected anymore. The fifth one is abundance. Maybe what's causing you a lot of depression, anxiety, and triggers is money. Money is the number one cause of failure in relationships and the number one fight. You know, as you clear your heart wall, money starts coming in. You're like, why is that? Because there's nothing more attractive in this world than knowing your mission, mind and heart, knowing how to receive love, and knowing how to give love freely. If you can do all those three things, people want to come miles away to help you in what you're doing. And then, like, again, it adds to depression, anxiety, and triggers. So that's a little bit there. So I just want to thank everyone for tuning in. In fact, I wanted to, let me see something real quick. I want to talk to Ronald. I don't know if Ronald, you can kind of unmute yourself real quick. Hopefully this works here. Look, we love technology, right? But Ronald, I don't know if you can unmute yourself. If not, don't worry about it, but we'll find out. Actually, let me ask if I can do this real quick. Okay, so let's do this. Let's go ahead and either Ronald or Daphne. I don't know if Daphne is available either. Whoever speaks up first.
I'm ready.
Okay. Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. So what stood out to you in the presentation? What kind of caught your attention? Like, I'm just curious.
I'm really interested in the scanning,
Mhm.
and the other thing that stood out to me was the consciousness map. I'm actually in the middle of going through a divorce with a narcissist. I know it's the word that's thrown out there a lot, but
Sure.
we had 3 therapists say that he was. So, and it's all the typical symptoms. It's a 6-year process of a divorce, and does all the things. So I really resonated with that and noticed that in the marriage, as the more healthier I got and the further away, the higher my vibration got, the worse the abuse got.
Yeah.
And I used to believe that I could save my marriage with love.
Yeah.
And at some point, I realized I wasn't loving myself. Um, and that was a very difficult process to realize that we're just two very different places,
Sure.
and that it wasn't going to happen, and then healing from that. So yeah, those things stood out for me.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for being so vulnerable with everyone. And I know all of us are edified with you kind of sharing kind of what you're going through. I guarantee someone else has gone through the same exact thing, and and other people maybe as well. So, but what we could do is this: is I'd love to see if you're open to do a quick session. That way, everyone can kind of see, how this works. In regards to me doing work with you. Are you open to that?
I would love it. And I would just like to add, the 6-year process, we were in court on the 20th or 22nd and 23rd. It got postponed to the 1st and 22nd of November. We have 2 half days. So it'll be fun to see if anything changes with that. But yeah, I'm totally open to all that.
Okay, great. So this is what we'll do here is, first of all, what we can do is, if everyone wants to do this, if hopefully no one's driving or whatever, I did promise everyone to to give you guys a shield. Okay, do you guys remember me talking about this? It's just so crucial for you, Daphne. Like, for example, you're going to be dealing with someone that is a narcissist. You probably are absorbing a ton of energies from them, like, and a ton of emotions from them, maybe the anger or hatred, And so the thing you want to do is protect yourself from those type of energies. So if everyone wants to take just the right hand, or if you're right-handed or left-handed, I'll tell you guys how simple it is. Okay. And I'll say this out loud for everyone. So you guys, all you have to do is just listen to this and just kind of maybe even repeat the words that I'm saying in your head. You don't have to say it out loud. Okay. So let's just everyone do this. And this will give you guys all a shield. And all you need to do in the morning time is say shields up. So shields up in the morning. And then, or if you're in your prayer, if you're a prayer type of person, you can just add shield in your prayer. Like, like God shield me throughout the day. And that will activate it throughout the whole entire day. You don't have to turn it on again. It's like on for the whole entire day. And then at nighttime, it just automatically shuts off. Okay. So for right now, let's just do this real quick. If you take your right hand or left hand, and you're just kind of like swiping your head, like you're just kind of like doing this, and this is the governing meridian here. It's like the motherboard, and all you're saying is this. So if everyone wants to repeat after me, so I want everyone to get your own shield right now, because you guys needed that like way back in the day, and I want you guys to stop absorbing things, So I'm just gonna say these words. I'll say, I am now placing a shield around my body. Okay, so everyone said that, and I'll just say, this shield is permanent. It covers my whole entire body. It allows love and positive energies in. And it blocks all negative energies. Okay, so that's how you apply a shield. And if you have a child, you can rub their back and say the same thing. You don't have to go over the head. Obviously, I can't rub my own back, so that's why I do it over the head. But with your child, you can say those words. And on the Facebook group where I'm there, I'm going to put the words there for those of you who maybe for some reason couldn't do it, or you'd like to place a shield on your child. And sometimes have fun with them. Be like, hey, kid, like, if you say shields up in the morning, I'll give you a nickel for the next 30 days, or a dime, and just put it like in a cute little jar, and they'll have fun with it. Like, cool, I get to buy a stick of bubble gum or some little toy or whatever. And it just gets them in the pace of doing it. Usually after 30 days, they're saying automatically, hey mom, I said shields up, oh, cool. Awesome. Good job. High five, and what you're doing is you're protecting them from absorbing energies from kids at school. Cause some kids are not having good days at school, or their parents might be too tough on them. And then they're kind of bullying them. They're absorbing all that stuff and they come home differently. You've technically decreased their level of human consciousness by just allowing them to have no shield. So let's work with you real quick, Daphne. And maybe what I'll do is I'll share my screen. I got like a few minutes here. And let me see if I can share. Actually, I can just do it on my desktop. Okay, give me 1 second here. So let me just.
Is it possible to do it around abundance? Because that seems to be our problem
Yes,
in
absolutely.
court. Yeah.
Absolutely. So finances are kind of tight with you.
Yes, and I guess it relates to the divorce because he blocked everything and took everything, and then is making it difficult for me. So it kind of ties in, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you'll find something different. I don't know.
You know what we could do is do me a quick favor. Usually when if you were to stand up real quick, and then if you were to kind of move around a little bit, like move your neck, move your shoulders,
Mhm.
check your in between your shoulder blades, lower back, hip area. Do you have any area where you might feel tension, tightness, or pain at all? Like where is that area for you? Like, oh yeah, I wouldn't mind a massage on my left shoulder or my lower back. Where is that for you?
Yeah, it's my low back, right hip, um,
Okay.
right neck,
Right.
left shoulder and right shoulder, but left hip and low back.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do this real quick. Give me 1 second here. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to use, you can probably see my screen now of like
Mhm.
the body code. And by the way, how young are you, real quick?
52.
You too. Okay, you like how I asked that question?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so you said left side of your neck, and you also said back and like left side of your hip. Do you feel like the back and the left side of your hip are connected, or is it it's kind of separate, like your lower back and then your hip?
My whole low back, but my right hip is very tight.
Mhm.
My whole right side. It's funny. I just went to a chiropractic session, a neuro network chiropractic, and it was showing like C7 was lit up, C2, and then pretty much my whole thoracic, and then my cervical. I mean my lumbar. So it's it's my right side is worse, except for
Okay,
my left shoulder.
okay, okay. Oh, did you say left shoulder?
Yeah, my left trap and my left shoulder. I have an injury. I have a knee injury right now that
Mhm.
I'm working on, and it's my hip, on my right knee, my right hip is my problem area,
Okay.
and my low back.
Now let's get picky here, okay? Because I know there's a couple of areas here. Out of all the areas you mentioned, what's the most annoying one? That's just like this is annoying. Like the most annoying of them all. And let's give a number to it. 10 being like take me to the hospital, one just barely any pain. What number would you give the most annoying symptom?
I would probably say my low back might include my hip because I just did nerve testing because I have a pinched nerve, L4, L5, and then I have some numbness on one of my legs.
Okay. Yes. The left leg.
Yes.
Yeah, left leg. Okay. Yeah. So that's another thing too. So give me a number. So I just want to show you guys real quick kind of how this works. Let's give a number to your low back, like 1 to 10. What number would you give your low back?
Right now, it's probably um, it's not like in sharp pain, but it's
Okay.
tension wise, it's probably an 8.
Okay.
Pain wise, it's probably like a 4.
Okay. So tension 8, pain 4. Just real quick, this will only take 5 minutes for everyone that's listening in, but this is kind of important. I usually start off with dealing with some type of physical pain because it's kind of code red already. Your body's giving you pain because there's some specific emotional baggage that your body wants to release. Now, can it indirectly assist your abundance? Sure. Why? Because you go higher in the level of the map of consciousness automatically by doing a body code session. And like I said, your body's saying, I'm giving you pain because you're not listening to me. Like there's something that you're, and like I said, 80% of our physical symptoms is basically directly to emotional baggage, you know?
Mhm.
So what we're gonna do is this, Daphne, you can go ahead and sit down, relax. Let's just take, if you guys want to, if you guys are busy and you guys have something else to do, feel free to leave. If you want to stick around and just see me do a quick 5 minute session, feel free to hang out with us. And you might see something that's really interesting here because I'm going to get very specific. I may get certain ages for Daphne of certain emotions. And Daphne, I need you to kind of just use your intuition, and whatever's the first thought that comes to your mind where you're like, wait a minute, like that's when this happened, and wait a minute, just lean on it. Even if you haven't thought about it for a while, it's probably the first thought you have. If not, the second thought. And if you have two
Okay.
thoughts, I'll muscle test you to see which one it is. I'll just be like, is it the first thought or the second thought? Your body will tell me because it records everything, records every tear you've dropped, every corner you've turned, every event you've ever experienced. Your subconscious is recording it 24/7. You see? So
Mhm.
let's do this real quick. Let's work on that low back. Let's just take 10 seconds to meditate. I tell people, like, if you pray or if you meditate or ask help for universe, God, whatever you want to call it, but let's just take
Mhm.
10 seconds in our mind. And if everyone wants to send some love to Daphne too, that only helps. Let's just 10 seconds. We'll just kind of ask for some help, and then we'll jump into your session here. Okay, so we're going to connect real quick, and I'll just say, what's the biggest thing we can do for that low back tension? That's an 8, but that's a pain, is a 4. Okay, so let's see what comes up here. So it says circuits and systems, some type of disconnection here. And okay, so you see this on the thing on the right hand side, this little spiritual to physical disconnection. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, so basically what this is uh, I know. Sorry, can you hold on 1 second? Can you hold on just 1 second, guys? Hold on.
Sure.
Okay. So there's a spiritual physical disconnection here. And so what this is, there's 3 different types of this. Okay. So there's your whole entire body where the spirit and physical are not communicating. It could be a section of your body that's not communicating, or it's an organ or gland where the spirit of the organ or gland sticking out from the physical. So it's kind of cool. It's like every part of our organ and glands have a spiritual version of it. And it's like inside of it, just like us, with spirit, physical, but it's like sticking out for some reason. And basically, if you leave it long enough there, it can create some issues for that organ or gland. You see, so if someone had liver disease, for example, probably the spiritual version of the liver has been sticking out from the physical for too long. That's what's happened. So I'm just going to say, for example, is this your whole entire body? And I'm muscle testing right now. It says no. Is this like a section, like maybe see your lower back? Yeah, your body says no. Is this an organ or gland? There we go. So this is organ or gland. So now here's the fun part is we need to find out, and I'm muscle testing this whole thing here, which one it is here. And yeah, so it's saying it's an organ. And so your kidneys, for some reason. So your kidneys need some help. I'm going to ask real quick. Look what it says here, can give discomfort in the lower back. Now watch this. This is even crazier. Look at the muscle connection here, upper trapezius. You were just saying I have tension in my upper trapezius. So that's the muscle connection there, but it also gives discomfort in the lower back. Remember, the body is really intelligent. It wants to work on 3 or 4 things at the same time. Like it's a great multitasker, unlike men like myself. Like we're terrible multitaskers. But let me just say real quick, what's the percentage of the spiritual to physical connection here? 190, 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 30, 20, 10, 10, 11, 12, 15, 16, 17, 18. So you're at 17%. And by the way, guys, for those of you who are interested in learning more about getting sessions done, or perhaps you're interested in the scanner, these are things that you can use to fortify your home. I just gave you guys like 2 of the biggest tools that I use in my home that we use for clients. You want to write this down. It's Compass Healing Center at gmail.com. Again, Compass Healing Center at gmail.com, and you'll reach me there, and we can talk more about it and kind of go from there. So for those of you, if anyone has to leave, that's my email again, compasshealingcenter at gmail.com. Okay, so we're here at 17%, and let's see what comes up here. So something post-traumatic. So the first thing that comes up, if you see this little stop sign here, it means there's some inflammation in your kidneys for some reason. So I'm just going to say recovery interference, just another term for inflammation. Is there something that's fueling this recovery interference? And your body said yes. So I'm going to see what's causing this. Okay, some type of toxin here. Okay, so what's coming up here is like some type of like heavy metals. Okay, now I'm gonna say what type though. Let's get kind of picky, or let's ask your body. Let's get more specific. The first one is mercury, and I'm also gonna ask, is there another one here? There is. There's also aluminum as well. Okay, and I'm gonna say, is there another heavy metal that's affecting your kidneys at all? Body says no, not really. Now I'm gonna dig kind of deeper here because I'm kind of like a detective. I'm gonna be like, well, why do you have these in the first place? There's a major culprit for it. And your body said yes. Okay, so let's go dig a little deeper here. Okay, some toxin here and some drug here, pharmaceutical. Do you know if when you were a little baby, this is pretty common, if like you got like your record of vaccinations? Do you know if like when you were a baby you got those, or if you got any recently at all?
I did get them when I was a kid.
Yeah. Okay, but none recently.
No.
Okay, so it's interesting. So this is pretty common. My parents were both doctors, oncologists and hematologists. There's no way I could escape vaccines. I mean, there's just that would be kind of weird, you know. It'd be so there is some vaccination toxicity still stuck in the body. And what's interesting is that most people don't know this, but it's like after 9 years of like it, there's a common pattern that most of these vaccines have aluminum, formaldehyde, and toxic adjuvants in them, you know, and then these heavy metals will stay in your body for life, if not detoxified in a very specific way, you know? And so if I'm going to go ahead and remove this vaccination toxicity here, I have the intention of removing mercury and aluminum toxicity. And then I'll say, is there anything else that's adding recovery interference to your kidneys? Your body says no. So I'm going to remove this recovery interference energy. So I just removed three things from you there. If you want to kind of take a deep breath there real quick. And by the way, too, I'm taking notes for you. So I'll send these notes to you afterwards as well. So so let's check your percentages now. 20, 30, 40, 50, 49, 48, 47. So now you're at 46%. Okay, so I'm going to say, what else is causing this? Something emotional. There's a compound here. Okay, there's an absorbed one. You see this little sponge down here, like little SpongeBob? This is called an absorbed emotional compound. These are kind of interesting. I was just talking about this, like how you can absorb emotions from people. So, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I found it when I saw this graph here of like, wait, I can get them in the womb. I can get them before I was born. I can get inherited ones. I can get sponged ones. This told me that like any symptom of depression, anxiety triggers is programming. It's energetic programming. And if I could just release enough of these, I can get back to my true self. That should give you comfort. Now, maybe you haven't done the body code yet, so you haven't experienced it. I mean, but you are right now, Daphne. But for those of you who are listening, you feel real relief when you experience these sessions. Like you will actually feel it afterwards, and you're technically processing for the next 2 days. So make sure you drink lots of water. You know, don't watch any negative news. You know, don't call an ex-husband just to say hello. Like, you know, it's just kind of like, you know, take care of yourself, like emotionally, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So let's find out what the absorbed emotional compound's all about. So let me see. Okay, there's some blaming going on here. This isn't you though. So let me see what this is. Okay. And there's some frustration. Is this a female or a male? It's a male. I mean, we could assume it's him, but I don't want to assume anything. Let me see. 52, 52, 50, 40, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47. It's 46. What is that? That's 6 years ago. Okay, so 6 years ago, there was a male around you that was blaming and was frustrated. You know, could it be your partner? Could be, or I don't know if it could be your boss, or it could be a family member. It could be anybody. But who's the first person that pops in your mind? That 46-ish. Now, I always say ish. It could be 45. It could be 47. That maybe
That's
my
when we that's when we got separated.
Okay, so it's probably him. I'm going to say, is this him? Yeah, so your body said yes. So I'm going to remove this blaming and frustration here. So that's something that you absorbed from him there. Okay, did we release this one? We did. Let me see, 50, 55. So now we're at 72%. Cool. All right, we're almost there. Let's see what else comes up here. There's also some other pathogen here. There's some energy of a pathogen. Let me see. Hold on one second here. There's an energy of a pathogen. So some prions. Okay, so what are prions? Prions are just mutated proteins. But what's interesting, and they usually come from heavy metals. Now, I'm going to say, are these yours? Look, it says no. Is this absorbed from somebody? This is also no. Is this inherited? This is inherited from who? From a male? No, a female. So from your mother. Does it go beyond her? It does. Is it her mother? No, her father. Does it go beyond him? Now it says no. So not his mom or his dad. So interesting. So this is your grandfather on your mom's side. There's an inherited energy of prions. So likelihood is either your grandfather ate some tainted meat, like mad cow disease, or which is more likely, is he had heavy metals in his body too that produced prions, these mutated proteins, but just the energy of it got passed down to your mom, and then it got passed down to you. You see? So I'm just going to go ahead and just remove these inherited prions here. Okay, we just released that one there. 85, 80, 85, 90. Good. Now we're at 89%. We're just right there. So my perfectionist side is coming out now. So because we're not at 100% yet. Let me see what's the last thing here, and then we'll let you kind of see what's going on here. Okay, so there's also a something mental here. You have a no will to. Now, this can cause depression. So I don't know if you've had some history of kind of, whenever things are hard, you might kind of feel kind of down. But you have a no will to something. And I'm going to find out which type, though. It's three. Okay. Yeah, you do have like a no will to like forgive self. So this sounds like, like if you're kind of hard on yourself, like, oh, I'll never forgive myself for this, or never forgive myself for that, kind of hard on yourself. Or maybe it was you being attacked by your partner and he made you feel guilt or shame about something. We don't need to go too into this. I mean, I could if I wanted to. I could say, for example, is this inherited? This one says no. Absorbed? No. Is this your own? This is your own. Okay. When did you get this? Let's see, 52, 50. So this is just 2 years ago. Okay. So I don't know what happened 2 years ago, but maybe you're kind of being a little bit too hard on yourself. Maybe you're like, oh, did I make the right decision? I don't know. There was something where you maybe might have been too hard. And again, this could be also 51, which is just a year ago, or it could be 49. But what's the first thing that pops in your head that maybe you're just being a little bit too hard on yourself? What do you think this could have been?
Uh, my past relationship that I just had, that I had.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll just ask, is that anything to do with that? There you go. Bullseye. So I'm going to remove this no will to forgive self here. That will kind of actually add more happiness to your life, is not having this no will to. Okay. So now we're at 100%. Okay. So now I have the intention of realigning your spiritual and physical kidneys, make sure it's perfectly aligned, functioning properly there. Okay, so go ahead and take another deep breath, Daphne. And you can just leave the phone there where you're at, but go ahead and walk around maybe 9 or 10 steps. Just go ahead and walk around real quick. You can we can go travel with you. Oh, cool. We get a cool little tour. Or you can, or you can just leave it there. And then after you walk around maybe like 8 or 9 steps, I want you to check your lower back real quick and just see if it feels a little bit lighter, maybe a little bit more relaxed. I know you said it was like a tension was an 8. The pain was a 4. Where is the tension right now?
There's less tension in the right hip.
Okay.
Um,
What number is that? What number is that right now in the right hip? The less tension there.
Probably a 3.
3. Okay. And then where's the pain? You said the pain was a 4. So what number is it right now if you were to kind of move around a little bit?
It's probably like maybe a 2.
Okay.
There's just
Now watch this. Here's the fun part. If I say, is there something else still affecting these areas here? Your body says no. So, and you might even feel just a little bit more calmer, more relaxed, a little bit lighter. How do you feel right now? Just like emotionally, just right now.
I feel good because it feels nice, because the past one, the forgive self, that one I've been consciously struggling with why I'm having a hard time letting go.
Sure.
And so that one feels good to just have some sort of confirmation.
Yeah. And you know what, too? Let me do you a big favor. Let me give you a lot of relief here. Do you have a cord with is he currently your ex now, or is he still kind of your husband now?
You mean my ex-husband?
Oh, so he is an ex right now, right?
Well, the one for 2 years ago was a relationship that I had.
Okay.
But the one prior, the other one was my ex-husband.
Okay. Who's the one that's the narcissist one? Is that your ex-husband?
My ex-husband, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just going to see if you have a cord with him and your body says yes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send this cord back to him tell him not to send a cord back to you and you not to send a cord back to him. And I would take a deep breath there. Do you have that cord anymore? Yeah. So for all those who are listening in, here's a word you want to write down is emotional sovereignty. Emotional sovereignty. This is what we all want. We don't want to feel people's emotions. We don't want him to, let's say your narcissist ex, to be overwhelmed at nighttime and you're wondering why you can't sleep. You don't want to, if he's having a very stressful day at work, you don't want to feel like feeling off. Like, there's nothing wrong. Why do I feel off today? And it's because you're courted to him, you see? So courting means you're like sending your guys' emotions to the other person. Now watch this. See, have you had some water today? Are you kind of, because I'm asking if you're hydrated. It says you might need some more water a little bit. So I don't know if you've been drinking lots of water today or.
I've been a little dehydrated because I had to drive in a car for a little while.
Okay, no worries. And this is why, your body says you're not hydrated. So watch this now. I'll do kind of a little challenge for you is drink some water. And hey, if you want some alkaline water, put some lemon in it. But basically, wait about 2 hours and check your back again. It wouldn't be a surprise because I've been doing this for 9 years that your tension will be even lower and your pain will be even lower. And maybe even by tonight, you'll be like, man, I feel nothing back there. What the heck is going on here? It wouldn't be a shock to me. Like I said, I lower people's pain down 4 or 5 times a day. It's just what I do. So check them. I would love to get an email from you. Give me an update later on tonight about that. I want to thank everyone for being on here. I thank you, Daphne, for allowing us to work with you. I'll also, when you email me, I will send you your notes to you. And if you guys have any questions about the AOSCAN, how you can provide yourself with that inner voice, meditation, everything like that, feel free to email me. And if some of you guys are like, if you guys want to know, if you guys want to go on Google and go to Compass Healing in St. George, Compass Healing Quantum Wellness Center. It's a kind of a mouthful. Compass Healing Quantum Wellness Center, St. George. You'll see I think 70 testimonials there. But if you go on Facebook too, and you look up Compass Healing, just Compass Healing on Facebook, or Coding Alternative, if you add them all together, it's probably about 600 testimonials around there. So if you want to just browse around tonight, just put some Bon Jovi music in the background or whatever, and just basically read some of the testimonials, you will be shocked. It's almost, I when I read them, I get emotional because some of them are just so insane. I'll tell you the most crazy one. And again, I'm not trying to claim about cancer. I'm not a cancer destroyer, but I did have a client who had stage 4 kidney cancer, worked on him for 2 months, and he only was using immunotherapy, which has about 20 to 30% success ratio with it. But with my work, which trapped emotions do create disease, he's completely cancer-free 2 months later. And I never even met him before. I just worked with his wife who believes in this work. So I'm just letting you know that this stuff it can go deep. If you have PTSD, no problem. It's heart wall. You got to remove all your heart trauma and then go even deeper and remove these things called idea allergies and idea intolerances. I already know in the back of my hand how to do it. If you have depression, like serious depression, you might have entities attached to you, not to freak you out, but you might have some attachments on you that took advantage of you while you're going through some hard times. And then now you have night terrors, you have bad dreams, you have stuff like that. I can help you with those too. I can get rid of those, and then we can start working on your heart wall and then move forward. If you have anxiety, your amygdala might be off. You probably have a heart wall. Your heart may be imbalanced. Your heart actually produces depression and anxiety. So all these things are common ground for me. It's like I know how to get rid of them. And if you're like, hey, I'm ready to take my journey, definitely email me. We can send you some information. If you're someone who's like, oh, I'd love to take a journey with you, but I definitely want that meditation where I can check with my voice to see where I'm at and get that more everyday healing, then just say you want more info about the AOSCAN, and then we'll go from there. But thank you guys so much you guys can tell I'm very passionate about this work. It's my mission in life. I love helping people. Hopefully this opened up your mind a little bit about what I do and how your body really works. It's an amazing universe inside of us, and we just have to take care of it. And these are just 2 different ways we can do that. So thank you guys for being on here. Again, my email is compasshealingcenter@gmail.com. If you have any questions at all or anything, I'm here to help out, and I hope everyone has a blessed day. Take care.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.